What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey, episode number 188, presented by the Barroom Network. It is the home of everything relating to the greatest sport in the world, the sport of hockey. My name is Vinny Parisi, and I believe the New Jersey Devils are going to win the Stanley Cup. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller, and he is the king of all beans, Bean, the magical fruit. How you doing?
Good. What do you think the percentage is for the Devils to win the Cup this year?
They probably still have top 6 odds.
There you go.
I'll go 4%.
It's fair.
You know, you figure every team in the league, the top team, maybe Florida has like 7, 8, 9%. So, yeah, this team ain't it. They're close. And long term, it's hard to think of a team in the league with a better outlook long term, multiple years down the road. But this year, I don't like the depth. I still think in order to win the Cup, you need more growth and development out of both Hugheses. Heischer's getting close to being like the best version of himself. And he will sustain that, I think, for, 6, 7, 8 years, like guys do. He's getting there. Bratt, too. I think Bratt's getting close to his end game form, and he'll reach that peak and stay at that peak for a good 6, 7 years. But Jack Hughes, I still think there's another level. He'll probably have 95, 100 points. I think there's another level he can get to. He's 23. Same thing with Luke Hughes. There's more development to go. It kind of reminds me, think of any team. Think of Colorado in like 2020.
Yeah.
Or, they were good, but they would go on runs where they were poo for 15 games, but they were there were flashes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm at on the Devils right now. Long term, very excited. This season, I'd be careful on the assets you trade away to take a shot at Carolina, who traded for Rantanen and probably had a better roster anyway.
They're good.
They're very good. They're good, and Rantanen has been very mid since getting to Carolina.
Yeah,
he's got 1 goal and 1 assist.
He's going to explode, I feel like.
If he explodes, then Carolina's one of the best teams in the league. Washington all of a sudden has a 12-point lead on them, and they could beat anybody. Florida's still Florida. Florida's what I want the Devils to become. I mean, they have Hischier. They have Hughes, who can be that, high-end offensive player like a Tkachuk. He's not as physical as Tkachuk, but he's a better skater. Bratt could be like a Verhaeghe, when he's a really hot scorer. There are a lot of things that are in the pipeline that are there, and it takes time. And everybody wants immediate results. I want immediate results. I want them to win the Cup. I don't think this is it. I actually think the East is incredibly weak. If there was a year for Toronto to get it done and get to the final, it's this year.
Do you think that one of the two teams who are leading for the President's Trophy will win the President's Trophy?
Is it Winnipeg and Washington?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them will win it.
You think one of them will win it?
Yeah, totally. Probably Winnipeg. Winnipeg's one of those teams. They're so good. And then when they get to the playoffs and they play Dallas, I'm not going to pick them. I don't know why, because they deserve to be picked. They're like an elite team. And what happened last year or the year before, it really shouldn't matter because everybody's going in with the same stuff. I actually am cold. The answer is yes, but it's also because it's a hockey hat. But yes, the answer is yes. I am actually cold right now. And it's not going to get any better because I'm just going to go work the rest of the day and then go to the United Center. It's 30 degrees. It'll be even colder when I leave. Just going to be cold the rest of the day. I'm not allowed to wear this hat there, though. So But I'll probably wear it like a majority of the car ride and then take it off right when I get out. Um, Frank, we said it last week, kind of right when we were going to get off the show. We were like, well, it's Friday, and maybe it'll happen again. I hope not, because I'd like to cover the Blackhawks game and
all
not
the
worry
time,
about anything else tonight.
all the time.
But last Friday, after we hung up, JT Miller, after months and months and months of speculation, was traded from the Vancouver Canucks to the New York Rangers in exchange for Philip Hedl, amongst many other prospects and picks going back to Vancouver. Frank, what is your initial reaction to the JT Miller trade?
Well, it always happens after our show ends. We joked about it, but it wasn't really a joke. Not really.
No,
It
it never
always
really was.
happens. It always happens. I don't understand it. So Miller traded to the Canucks or by the Canucks to the Rangers for Philip Cheadle, Victor Mancini, and a first round pick in the 2025 NHL draft. The 2025 draft pick, though, is top 13 protected, and it will transfer to a 2026 if it does fall in the top 13. The Rangers also received Eric Brandstrom and Jackson Dorrington. I think this is a great trade by both the Canucks and the Rangers, and here's why. Now that the Canucks pulled the trigger on this trade, there's no more drama in the locker room. That could finally be laid to rest. Philip Cheadle, he could be that breakout center on a team. In the tenure he had with the Rangers, he never was really able to showcase a huge season. But on the other hand, he never got to play an entire season either. He was always missing a good chunk of games in every season he's been a part of so far for whatever reason. But he could be a key player that the Canucks need as one of those key element type pieces that a team needs. He could be that guy. He already has a goal and an assist in 2 games with the Canucks. He's already proven he's, shown a little bit with his small tenure with them so far. He's got and the other guy, Mancini, he's got a lot of upside. He's a very young defenseman, and you got a first round pick out of it. So I think the haul the Canucks got for JT Miller was pretty big. And then obviously, if you're the Rangers, you got the best player in this trade, and that's very obvious. But however, that's not the end all be all for this New York Rangers team. They've been very mediocre this year and not as dominant as we've seen in years past. I mean, this JT Miller trade isn't what the Rangers have necessarily been missing to fix all their problems they've had early on in the season, but it's a definite boost for their team. Already, Miller has 4 points in 3 games. He's more than point per game with the Rangers already. He's fitting in like a freaking glove. But like I said, I don't think it's the end all be all. They sit 5 points out of the playoffs right now. The trade could definitely help them push for a playoff spot, but by no means do I think it's enough for them to be a contender.
New York's 6 highest paid forwards: Artemi Panarin, 33 years old; Mika Zibanejad, 31 years old; JT Miller, 31 years old; Chris Kreider, 33 years old; Vincent Trocheck, 31 years old; Riley Smith, 33 years old. The grandpa team got more grandpa. They could win like next year. They have like what they've done to forego the rebuild though is crazy to me. They called it the kid line last year, and it was very good. Hedl centering Lafreniere and Kako, and now Hedl and Kako are gone. And they signed Lafreniere at the beginning of the season to a $7.45 million cap hit for 8 years, and he's been terrible since. Mostly unproductive, not that good defensively since. It seems like it just is a very New York Rangers move. It's a fan pleaser, big name, bright lights of New York. Is it going to help their hockey team long term? No, I don't think so. I really don't. It might help them this year, like you said. They still stink. Okay, he's got 4 points in those 3 games. What's their record? 2-3-0, something like that. And they took a comeback against the Boston Bruins 2 nights ago to even get it done at all in that one. It's not that great for me for New York, and it's really not that great for me for Vancouver, because all it does to me for Vancouver is tell me that management allowed a rift between 2 players to basically break up what made their team great last year. Last year, JT Miller and Elias Pettersson were one of the best 1-2 punches in the National Hockey League. They were one of the best teams in the Western Conference as a result of this depth. They gave the Edmonton Oilers everything they could handle, taking it all the way to Game 7 in the second round. And I do believe I probably would have picked Dallas if they played against Vancouver in the third round, but it's not just because I pick them that they Vancouver absolutely could have gone to the Stanley Cup final had they won Game 7 last year. It's not even a debate in my mind. They were one of the 3 best teams in the West last year. And I stand by that. I believe that. And this year they let it all go to crap because 2 guys really couldn't get along. And JT Miller's older, so you're obviously going to get rid of him over trading Elias Pettersson. But, like, is that even the right move? Because Pettersson hasn't been good since signing his $11 million a year cap hit contract. I mean, he's been very, very mid. You know, a $6 million player at best, making 11. And it's kind of sad because I love when Vancouver's good. Their fans are jerks. They go crazy. They start riots if they don't win. Like, I love when Vancouver's good. They're mid. They might make the playoffs. If they do, they're an 8th seed. I'd rather see Calgary make it. That fun, scrappy Dustin Wolf might win the Calder Trophy in the end as a goalie. You know, it's between him, Celebrini, and Michkov, I think. And Lane Hutson's in the it's a 4-headed monster, but like Wolf is firmly in the conversation now. Calgary's fun, they're scrappy. Everyone thought they were going to stink. Is it good for them long term to make playoffs? Probably not, but they're still like a fun, great story. You know, Kadri, both of Goudreau's teams are like came into this year expecting to be dog water, and they've both like surprised and actually gotten themselves into the mix. Calgary's one of them. They're more fun than Vancouver. And it's sad that we're at this spot after where we were with the Canucks, you know, at this time last year. Because at this time last year, I legit thought there was a chance that like Quinn Hughes could be raising that cup over his head soon. And now it looks more like Hughes will end up with the Devils in a couple years than it does winning the Stanley Cup up there in Vancouver.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, this Canucks team, they had a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at them and it's like, I mean, they're not gross, but they're not like they're not eye candy either when you look at them.
No, they were one of my Western Conference teams that I watched religiously last year. You might remember.
It's kind of a shame, like you said, but I think they made the right move. You don't want to trade Pettersson. He's younger, even if he's not producing as well. I mean, you got to keep the young guy. I mean, every team does it, every sport. I mean, his ceiling's higher than Miller's if he performs to that high level, I think. So I think they made the right move. It's like a B trade. It was a B trade, maybe a C. For both teams.
But see, that's the thing. Everybody, what you just said is pretty much exactly how everybody feels about it, other than, you know, Rangers fans, talking specifically like just the hockey world in general. The general consensus is, I think that's the right move. In theory, you keep the guy who's, you know, 25 years old over the guy who's 31, but nobody is definitively saying that is absolutely unquestionably the right move. Like, maybe JT Miller over the next 3 years is significantly more productive than Elias Pettersson, and that's possible. That is absolutely possible. And if that's the case and you're Vancouver and you wasted that window because you went with the younger guy, it's going to be a tough look in the long run. Again, I would have done it too. I think all 32 GMs would have handled it that way. Yeah. But I also think all 32 GMs leave the door open for that to end up being the wrong move in the long term. And it's a risk too harsh to take, because then if you trade Peterson in the middle of his prime and he goes to another team and has 120 points next year, then you're the guy that traded like a future Hall of Famer, right? Like, you know, you don't want to be that guy. But man, is it a risky trade for Vancouver too? I really think, and if you're New York, like, doesn't matter. Like, you got JT Miller.
Your problems.
No, but they're not like the losers in the trade either, because they didn't get Pettersson. They got JT Miller back. It felt like he was always gonna end up going back to the Rangers because he was there before. People forget he had an overtime winner for the Rangers in the Winter Classic. Like, that's he's been a very good player in this league for a long time. Man, did the Rangers get screwed in the JT Miller Ryan McDonough trade? Who did they get hosed? They sent JT Miller and McDonough to the Lightning. I don't know if Miller won the cup with Tampa. I think he did. But like when going back to the Rangers was like Vladislav Nemesnikov and like a couple other players that like never really turned into much. They just got hosed. If the Rangers ever put their captain on the trade block, you should try and like get him. Jacob Trouba, I mean, going to Anaheim, it's a little different, but like, damn.
Yeah, it's rough, VP, but I don't know.
Yeah, it is rough. All right, Frank, let's transition a little bit. We're going to end our hockey conversation talking about the Four Nations Face-Off. This is our last show before the Four Nations Face-Off kicks off next Wednesday. Teams are going to play through Saturday in the NHL. And then you start moving into people having breaks, and then the guys that are going to the Four Nations Face-Off in Montreal/Boston. The first half of the tournament's in Montreal. The second half is in Boston. Yeah, I'll let you go off. Like, however you want to answer this, answer it. What do you think's going to happen in the World Cup of Hockey? You can rank the four teams and how you think they're going to finish. You can tell me who you think's going to be the tournament MVP. Where's your head at on the Four Nations face-off?
So a lot of people are going to side with Team Canada with good reason. They're stacked just like they are every tournament. I mean, Canada's projected top line is Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon. That's a line built of Hart Trophy winners. There are a total of 6 Hart Trophies combined between the 6 of them. So I can understand why a lot of people are going to side with Canada. They're always built. They're always built different. They're always stacked. I will say, though, they are weak at goaltending. Aiden Hill and Jordan Binnington, they're both Stanley Cup champion winning goaltenders. But when you look at teams like the United States goaltending, I rather have their goaltending a whole lot more. That, to me, that's the goaltending of champions. I think it's gonna come down to USA and Canada, and if that happens, I think the offense for the United States can offset the offense for Canada and pull out the win because of their goaltending. And I do want to say, watch out for Sweden. I think Sweden's a huge sleeper. Do I think they have what it takes to upset one of the 2 big dogs? I do. I do think they have what it takes to upset Canada or the United States. If they won the tournament, I'd be like, they were that sleeper. They were that team you got to watch out for. Do I think they will? No, I don't think they're gonna, but I think there's a very good possibility that it could happen. Every team, though, really, if you think about it, VP, all 4 teams, you got some very talented players from head to toe. These are all NHL players. I just think that at the end of the day, there will be games in the Four Nations face-off where it's like he'll let up that cheesy goal. That could have been the difference maker for Team Canada. They could have got the win if he didn't just. There's that cheesy one he let in, or something of that nature. I just think that's going to happen, and it's going to hinder Canada a little bit. And I could be wrong because their offense is lights out. But I do think the United States is going to be the most dominant team in this tournament.
So you think they're going to win?
I do.
Very interesting, Frank. You think they beat Canada, I assume, in the championship game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I was that confident because I want them to win so bad. I do. But I give Aiden Hill a little more credit. He won the Stanley Cup.
He's great.
I do think he's good. Just because they don't have a Vezina winner on their roster like Team USA, I don't really care. Like they just need a guy to go in there and be solid, and Aiden Hill's better than solid. He wouldn't be a Stanley Cup champion with Vegas if he wasn't. Binnington is also a Stanley Cup champion. I think they're gonna go with Aiden Hill. I mean, Aiden Hill just shit on the Devils yesterday.
Yeah.
I think Canada's gonna win. I do. And I think Sweden's going to come in second. Finland would be more of a threat. I still would put them in fourth if this wasn't the case, but I really think losing Heiskanen like really takes them out of it because now that like number 1D that they would have had in all situations just isn't there. And their forward group. I'm not sure it's quite as upper echelon as Sweden, the U.S., and Canada. I mean, Sweden's got some dogs, man. Jesper Bratt, William Nylander, Pettersson. I mean, it. The list goes on. They're really good, and I think Team Sweden more than anybody will play like this real good team game, and they'll put that roster together on the ice the right way, and they're going to be really good. USA to me is one that team that until they prove me wrong, they always find a way to freaking lose, no matter what. And they finally have like high end players like Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, McAvoy's a stud on defense. I mean, it's gonna be sick. I hope they win. I really do. I just don't see them beating Canada. Canada to me, you can argue that roster for the Four Nations face-off is the greatest roster ever. I mean, it's just they have a guy on defense named Cale Makar, who, in my opinion, is on track to be as legendary as Bobby Orr. Nobody wants to admit it because like Bobby Orr has like this aura about him and this nostalgia, and like I get it. If you were around to see Bobby Orr play, it's hard to like let go or recognize that somebody else is just as good. But the way Cale Makar skates and controls a hockey game is unlike anything I've seen, and I just only assume that that's what it was like watching Bobby Orr. And he's getting to the point like he wins everything, and I just having a guy like that as your number one and his number one wingman, Devin Taves, is coming with him. And then the rest of Canada's defense is just so solid. It's not all about points. It's about defending and making good breakout passes and being smart with the puck. And then every forward line that Canada has that these smart defensemen are going to be shooting the puck up to I mean, starting with McDavid, obviously, and McKinnon and Crosby, if he's healthy, he's not playing tonight. So or is it tomorrow? I forget what day the Penguins play next, but he's missing their last game before the Four Nations face off. But it sounds like he's going to be good to go for the start of the tournament next Wednesday. You think about guys like Marner and Reinhardt, and they're bringing a little bit of sandpaper too with guys like Sam Bennett and Anthony Cirelli. Just their fourth line is going to be able to shut down, and guys who are normally in other roles are going to be primarily focused on this like two-way game that I think they'll bring to the table at such a high level. And it's hard for me to see them losing. Team USA's rowdy. They got some outstanding players, a lot of talent, but I just think the structure that Canada is going to bring with the high end skill that they have, it's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I get that. I get it. I get where you're coming from. It makes sense. It really does. And I love Aiden Hill. It's not a knock on Aiden Hill.
Oh,
I
I
think
know.
he's fantastic. I think he's a great goaltender.
The edge goes to Team USA. There's no doubt. Like anybody who argues that.
But Aiden Hill is like a fantastic goaltender who could win more cups, like multiple more cups.
Yeah.
Like he's great. There's just some times, and I mean, we kind of saw it in the Devils game last night. I was like, the Devils gonna come back against Aiden Hill. We're letting them some cheeks late in the game. Obviously, one was disallowed, but I mean, it's just you get a little nervous with a guy like that, no matter how good he's been or how many cups he's won. You know what I mean? It's just, I think the offense for the United States could match up well with the Canadian offense.
I hope you're right. I really do. I just watched Miracle the other day. Made me want Team USA to win so bad, and I'm sitting there thinking, I see Connor McDavid's face and Cale Makar's face as I'm watching Miracle and hoping and thinking of dreaming of Team USA winning a best on best. Man,
It's gonna be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
No matter what.
I love Team Canada. I bought a hat.
Yep.
I'm not going to be like devastated. I want Team USA to finally get one in my lifetime. Something. Win a best on. They went 0-3 at the World Cup of Hockey.
Yeah.
0-3. Like, what are we talking about? And that team didn't have all their best players were like 1A type players, except for Patrick Kane. But like Joe Pavelski, Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, very, very, very good players. Wouldn't necessarily call them Hall of Famers. where like Canada is just loaded with Hall of Famers everywhere. And this Team USA has Hall of Famers. It's different. This Team USA team does have a little bit different of a feel. There are more high top 10 level players that
Yeah.
represent Team USA now. And then Sweden. I look at that roster. I'm like, they're going to play a good, strong game. They might not be as talented as Team USA. I don't know. But I just have a feeling they're going to play the game a certain way and their skills
Sweden.
going to be on full display. They're damn good.
I'm telling you, they could be that sleeper. I feel like if
You know how
Canada wins, it's going to be against the United States. I feel like if Sweden played Canada in the championship, I think Sweden upsets them. I do.
maybe.
I don't
I
know.
almost bought the Sweden hat.
I don't know what it looks
Instead
like.
of the
Sick.
well, it's sick.
But
It's the
both
same
the
exact
US and
hat.
Canada is sick. I like
Yeah.
those.
The Sweden one has the 3 crowns and the front is yellow and the back is blue.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
If the whole hat
I
was
think that's
yellow,
sad.
if the whole hat was yellow, I was getting it instead of Canada so I can have Bratton Hughes, the 2 main devils in the tournament.
I like the transition in colors.
It
I gotta
didn't
see what
look
it looks like.
it didn't look right to me. So
Let
I
me
went
see.
with Canada instead. I don't know if I'm gonna. I wish it was all yellow. If it was all yellow, I think I would have had that one instead. But
Let's see.
I'm gonna here. I think I might have a picture of it saved on my phone. Yes, I do.
With the 3 crowns?
Yeah,
Is it not this one? Here, I'll show you. This one's all yellow.
this one.
Oh, then you might like this one, VP. Hold on.
Is it on Fanatics?
Yeah, it's on NHL Shop or whatever.
Yeah, that's Fanatics. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's a 59.50 though.
Oh, here's the other one.
Yeah, that's the hat that we got in Sweden.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. If it was all yellow, though, it'd be mine.
I kind of like it.
It's cool. It's cool. There's no doubt. I think it's cool. I just, if it was 100% yellow,
So you like the other one, the 59.50 or whatever you said?
yes, but that's not my style of hat anymore. I used to buy hats like that. But these dad hats, I think it's like 3930s technically, but Fanatics brand probably calls them something different. But like these style of hats are more my speed now.
Uh-huh.
And if it was all yellow, I would have it. I honestly think I would have got it instead of Canada.
What does Finland's look like? Now I got to find Finland.
Finland's is there. It'll be there somewhere. Just, yeah, you'll be able to find it quickly. I don't know if I have a picture. I never saved a picture of Finland's hat because it was never like one I was going to get. But yeah, you could filter it by hats.
Dude, I typed in Finland.
Yeah, once you switched to hats,
I see everything but Finland. Literally every dude. Does it not exist?
No,
Finland
it's there. I looked at it.
Face-off hat. Look at 4 nations face-off on the side: Canada, Sweden, USA. There's not even an option for Finland.
Oh, maybe they sold out. Maybe it was there when I looked. I saw it. It was white with like the Swomy logo.
What the heck, dude?
Well, no Finland for you. You got to pick one of the other 3 or
I
3
think
of the
it'd be
other
cool to
3.
own them all.
Yeah, it would be cool to own them all. It really would. But yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Team USA smokes them. I really do. But we'll have 2 games under our belt next time we speak on this show. Each team will have played once. Frank, let's make the transition and talk about the big game this weekend, Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to go through 4 different parts of each team, and you're going to say who you think has the better of these groups.
Okay.
And we will start with the offense, not including the quarterback.
Okay.
Everything on offense, not including the quarterback. Who's better?
I give the edge to the Eagles. They have the 2 best wide receivers in this matchup. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith would be wide receiver number 1s on the Chiefs. Not to mention they have Saquon Barkley, ninth player ever to rush for at least 2,000 yards in a season. He's been dominant. I mean, how many freaking touchdowns does he has in the postseason? I think he has like 5, 6. I mean, it's
He
just
had
been
more rushing touchdowns in the NFC Championship game than the Dallas Cowboys had all season.
exactly. It's just unbelievable. This offense is just so dynamic. And let's not to mention, we can't forget about the offensive line. It's one of the best in the NFL, if not the best in the NFL. It's I mean, that offensive line just crafts holes for Saquon Barkley and doesn't allow players to get to Jalen Hurts. It's really good all around offense. And listen, the Chiefs, they have the better tight end on offense, but the overall offense, the Eagles is better. But like the Chiefs is still very good. It just doesn't compare with the upside of what the Eagles has.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close.
No.
The Eagles are that much. They're so much better on offense. They have better at everything. Their offensive line is loaded with Hall of Famers. They replaced Kelsey with a young center, and he's been amazing. And everybody else, Lane Johnson and all these other guys that the Eagles have on their offensive line, all probably going to go to the Hall of Fame, all world. They've been developing there for a decade or more. Yeah, edge to the Eagles on offense in every way for basically every reason you've said. I think their weapons, like you said, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, they'd be number one receivers not only on the Chiefs, on almost every team in the NFL. You know, there are maybe 5 or 6 better than them at this point. And with the way that they run their offense and the schemes that they have with Saquon Barkley as kind of like the ringleader in the background, it's hard to argue against their entire offensive package against any team in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, I would take it. I would take their weapons over Buffalo. We said non-quarterback. Yeah, I would take them over Buffalo in this sense. I would take them over the Chargers.
It's so good.
The other high octane offensive teams in the NFL. I'm taking the Eagles. What about at quarterback? You have Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles and Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs.
At quarterback, this is the easiest question to answer. It's Patrick Mahomes. He could already be argued as one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He's making it up there to be number one. And this was the worst season statistically for Mahomes. And they only lost one true game this season with the whole roster playing. So worst statistical season, and a team was only able to beat Mahomes and the entire Chiefs healthy once. I mean, that says a lot right there for him. He's looking to become the first player ever to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Never happened before. It's the thing that about Mahomes that makes him the best is he's crafty. He's very situational. Mahomes can make the most out of any situation, no matter if he's losing in a game late, if he's scrambling out of the pocket to look for a completion on 4th down to just extend the drive. He just finds ways to get it done and make his team better with that craftiness. And now Jalen Hurts, he's good, but if it wasn't for his ability to move the ball with his legs when he needs to, he'd be mid. He'd be mid. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback, but he just makes some questionable decisions when he's under pressure and he's scrambling out of the pocket. It would just to where Mahomes doesn't. The clear edge goes to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I would take Mahomes over any quarterback in the National Football League right now. And I know Josh Allen, Lamar, 1 and 2 in MVP and should be and had better years. I would take nobody to win a football game over Patrick Mahomes. Because like you said, he's a superstar game manager. Kind of like what Tom Brady used to be. He didn't put up the numbers all the time that Drew Brees or Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers did. Patrick Mahomes doesn't put up the same numbers, whether it be on the ground or through the air, as Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, even some of the other top quarterbacks in the NFL. He just wins. If he's got to dink and dunk on you for 3 hours, he will. If he's got to make a 60-yard pass to Kelsey or whoever the case may be down the field, he will. He's smarter than everybody else, just as much as he is equally physically gifted as just about everybody else. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a good quarterback. He's probably the 7th or 8th best quarterback in the NFL. He continuously finds himself in NFC championships and Super Bowls. It's not a coincidence anymore. It's not, oh, well, Nick Foles also led this team to the Super Bowl. No, Nick Foles Nick Foles did it once. Most people agree it was by the grace of God. And Jalen Hurts has gotten them back multiple times now. It's not a one-off pop-up championship. It is a period of sustained success with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. The Eagles went to crap after winning the Super Bowl for a couple years there with Nick Foles. With Jalen Hurts, it has been consistent success, sustained success. He's been a little injured. I was a little surprised at how little Washington challenged him physically, because everybody else seemed to have gotten that done. And I think the Chiefs will do that. You're going to see Chris Jones all over him and stuff like that. But, in playing through injury, it's hard. He's a dog. Him at 80% is better than whatever their backup would give. So Jalen Hurts is held in very high regard in my world, but Patrick Mahomes is held of the highest regard in my world. So that's why he gets the edge in my brain. Frank, what about on defense? The defense of both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles,
Well,
Philadelphia Eagles.
this is interesting because I feel like the Super Bowl is being billed as the Philadelphia offense against the Kansas City defense. I think I give the edge to the Eagles on defense as well. The Eagles defense is a huge reason as to why they are in this position. They've had more sacks this year, higher sack rate on the season. Eagles were also 14th in stopping the run compared to the Chiefs, 24th in the NFL at stopping the run. That's going to have to be better for the Chiefs if they want to stop Saquon Barkley. Now, the Chiefs, they have the best defensive player in Chris Jones, no doubt about it. And I agree with you. You could argue he's the second best player on the Chiefs after Mahomes. He's incredible. But I think when you take who's surrounding Jones compared to the entire Eagles defense, I just think as an overall unit, I give the edge to the Eagles.
I absolutely also give the edge to the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a better defense all around. I think Chris Jones might be, it's either him or Lane Johnson or one of the other offensive linemen on the Eagles. They're in the conversation for the most talented non-quarterback in the game at their position. I know A.J. Brown's up there for a wide receiver. I don't think wide receivers impact the game quite as much as a defensive edge rusher like Chris Jones. I mean, he's going to be all over the game. I think he makes just as big of an impact. If he won MVP, I wouldn't be that surprised. If there was a defensive player, I remember when Von Miller won MVP when he was with the Broncos of the Super Bowl against the Panthers. It was 10 years ago in Super Bowl 49. It wouldn't shock me at all if it happened again. Chris Jones is amazing. I think he's the best player on either team's defense. But overall, as a full unit, I would give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think it's going to matter in this game because I think both teams' defense is going to show up to play. And, I mean, I think you know where I'm going to go with it in the end. But, just on paper, from top to bottom, offense and defense, I used to think it was the 49ers because it was, in my opinion. This season, as of right now, February 7th, 2025, I think the best roster in the NFL, from top to bottom, 53-man roster, belongs to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think it's not that surprising that they're in the Super Bowl because that elite Detroit is when they're healthy. I would put them number one when they were healthy. But 11 guys play on defense. They had 13 guys missing on defense. They were never – after thinking about it and meditating on that game against Washington, it's not that surprising that they lost. It's really not. If you take a deep dive on how they lost and why they lost, it's not that surprising. And the Eagles, they're healthy. So I think they have the best roster in the NFL. Their defense is included. Edge to the Eagles. Frank, what about the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles? You have Nick Sirianni, who's now participating in his second Super Bowl, and then you have Andy Reid, who is now participating in his, is it sixth Super Bowl as head coach? I know he lost one with the Eagles.
No, seventh.
It's seventh. Did he lose two with the Eagles, or did he lose another one that I'm not thinking of?
He's won 3 Super Bowls and he's lost 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, then he must have lost, because I know one of the losses was with the Chiefs.
I think he lost one with the Eagles.
I remember the one he had to have lost one with the Eagles because I remember when they had Donovan McNabb and they lost in the Super Bowl.
Early on, wasn't he with the Packers very early on? Did they go to the Super Bowl?
Maybe. I don't think he was their head coach, though. I want to say he was Mike Holmgren's assistant coach. but I
don't
could be
all
wrong.
I don't know. I just 3 Super Bowl wins and 3 losses. Now I don't know if that takes into consideration being an assistant.
Oh, maybe it does then. Then it would be the Packers probably.
I just know 3 wins and 3 losses was
Got
one
it.
of the stats I wrote down.
Got it. I
Um,
mean, who do you
I give
have as an edge?
I mean, to me, it's easy. Got to give it to Andy Reid. Been here before. Like I said, won multiple Super Bowls. He's seen it all. I mean, he's been able to taste defeat and taste victory, and I think that's super important. Sirianni, this will be his second trip to the Super Bowl now, but once again, he's by no means Andy Reid in this type of situation in the Super Bowl. Experience and longevity triumphs just about everything. Nick Sirianni is a great coach, but he hasn't really proved anything yet. He's got to win the Super Bowl. This would be a huge win for Sirianni to add to his resume. And let's not just talk about head coaches. The whole coaching roster for the Chiefs. You got Spagnuolo, who's crafting in the lab right now on how we're going to stop Saquon Barkley. He's a huge asset to Andy Reid and the entire Chiefs coaching staff. With that being said, edge goes to the Chiefs and Andy Reid.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I would give it to Reed. I've been calling Sirianni a boob all year. I don't think I could do that anymore because, I mean, at what point do you like the guy's just always at or near this point? It's like how I feel about Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan's the second best coach in the NFL right now, and he hasn't won the Super Bowl. He's still very young.
Yep.
Andy Reid had 0 Super Bowl champions and was known as the perennial choker until he got Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. Now he's seen in the same vein as Bill Belichick, top coaches in NFL history. And it's all like, so looking back, anybody that thought Reid was a boob, you're kind of an idiot. He just needed a quarterback to help him get over the edge. I feel the same way about Shanahan, and I'm starting to think that I might have been wrong about Sirianni because even though he's made some boneheaded decisions, they always win, man. And the coaches, Chicago Bears fans should know better than anybody. Coaching matters, and you got to put guys in position to succeed. You have to scheme these game plans, and he relies heavily on his coordinators, and that's okay. That's the sign of a good coach. The sign of a good coach is utilizing your offensive and defensive coordinator. That doesn't take away from you; it adds to you, in my opinion, because you're smart enough to go, "Hey, I'm going to look for these people that'll help me win." Speaking of coordinators, and instead of just thinking I'm the man and I'm Matt Nagy and I'm going to call every single play, even though Matt Nagy's looking to win his 4th Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator. He might have been the quarterback's coach for one of them. But I mean, I'll give the edge to Andy Reid. And if Sirianni does something stupid in this Super Bowl, then I'll just personally apologize to all of Eagles Nation because then it'll be my fault. The one game I give him some compliment and give him his flowers going into it, he makes a boneheaded decision. That would be kind of funny. But yeah. Frank, do you have any betting props that you're planning on doing in the Super Bowl?
We could do that now. It was going to be breaking bets. I dedicated.
Oh, okay. I'll touch on a couple of mine then because I have
I can
2
do
in
it
my.
now, and then we could skip breaking bets.
No, we don't have to skip breaking bets. I'd rather hear yours during that segment. For me, I'm going to take heads. I'm taking heads.
He's going for his 10th year in a row.
No, this will be 5. I've predicted the last 4 coin tosses correctly, and I haven't said heads every time. I went heads, tails last year. I've had a feeling it would flip last year, and this year I have a feeling it flips back after 1 year of tails.
Heads.
I'm going heads this year. I like heads.
Okay.
I think the Star Spangled Banner is going to go over 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
I haven't even looked at the time. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's long.
It's long.
I don't know who's even singing it. I forgot.
I forget their name. I wholeheartedly think over. I'm more confident on that than anything. And then I might sprinkle a little something on Travis Kelce to be Super Bowl MVP. I just think the fans somewhat influence the winner. And if the guy has 2 touchdown receptions and he always shows up big in these moments, I think this is the year that Mahomes doesn't get it. and they give it to Kelsey. Tom's last Super Bowl with New England, his second to last Super Bowl overall. They gave it to Edelman. Edelman got one. And I had a feeling going into that one, too, that it might not be Tom. And I just have a weird feeling. 3 in a row. If Kelsey has 2 touchdown receptions, I think, and, a fair amount of yards, 50 plus, 60 plus yards, maybe as a key blocker throughout the game, because, that could be the case for a tight end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to sprinkle. It's not like my full blown prediction. If I had to bet like millions and millions, I would bet either Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, or Patrick Mahomes. But just for a little something, little extra flavor, I like Kelsey as a potential MVP option, especially based on the value too. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that. Frank, who do you think is going to win Super Bowl 49?
Well, VP, you can make fun of me all you want.
No, I'm not going to make fun of you.
You could say I never learn.
That I might say.
But I think this is a revenge spot from Super Bowl 57. Eagles were very close in winning that matchup. Let's not forget.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles are better now than they were then. And I think the Chiefs are about the same. And in fact, Mahomes had a statistically worse season this year than he did that year.
And there's no Tyreek Hill.
And there's no Tyreek Hill. So I think this is a big spot for the Eagles to dethrone the Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Eagles to win Super Bowl 59.
You got a score?
Oh, that's tough. 27-23 Eagles. Very weird score.
You never know. So 27-23 Eagles. Yeah, I think if the Eagles win, it has to be by more than one score. But I'm stupid. I think the Chiefs are going to win 20-17.
So lower scoring.
Lower scoring. They'll find a way to contain Barkley, and they'll make the one play they need to at the end to get over the hump and win their 3rd Super Bowl in a row and 4th in the last 6 years.
That'd be crazy. That would be crazy.
It would be crazy. It would be crazy. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited.
Who won Super Bowl 56?
56? All right, let's go back in time. Last year, it was the Chiefs. The year before, it was the Chiefs. The year before that,
was it the Bucks?
It was the Rams. The year before that, it was the Bucks. The year before that, it was the Chiefs. The year before that, it was the Patriots. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right.
Tampa Bay. It's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week. Breaking Bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Welcome to Breaking Bets. Frank, the floor is yours.
This was a segment I wanted to dedicate solely to Super Bowl and the Super Bowl props. I got 3 props, and then obviously my pick for the game. I'll go with that first of all because we just talked about it. Take the Eagles money line plus 100 for 10 units. It's going to be an unpopular decision, but you got to trust me on this one. I think this Eagles team has what it takes to beat the Chiefs. Like I said earlier, this team has improved since their last matchup with the Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. Barkley left the Giants to come and win a Super Bowl. He's proven that this year. If the Chiefs can stop Barkley, the Chiefs will have the edge to come out on top. However, this is a big chance to fix all their problems as to why they lost their first matchup against the Chiefs. They could get this win. It's not going to be easy, but everyone leaning the Chiefs scares me a little bit. I don't like when the public is all on one team. I tend to go the other way. So I think the Eagles can dethrone the Chiefs and win Super Bowl 59. Eagles money line plus 100 for 10 units. Now some fun props. This one's always a fun one every year, and it depends who's in the Super Bowl to get to this number. I like the first touchdown jersey number under 15.5. There are more outs on the under 15.5 than there are over. The 4 main guys you got to worry about hitting the over are Hunt, Barkley, Kelsey, and Goddard. Obviously, those are 4 huge threats. If there's a rushing touchdown to start the game, it's over. But I think there's going to be a passing touchdown. I don't think it's going to be to a tight end. There are more outs on the under. Like I said, you got Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. If any of those guys score the first touchdown that I just named, it would hit under 15.5 on the jersey number. So I like that. I'm going to play the odds here. First touchdown jersey number under 15.5 at minus 115, bet to win 2 units. Second prop. This is a fun one to do every year too, because it just seems like it's so low. That's the longest field goal made, over 47.5 yards. There may be some field goals passed up in this matchup. There's going to be a lot of fourth down attempts, I think. But you think at some point they're going to attempt a long field goal, and you just got to hope they hit it. 48 or higher. Whether it's during the game, at the end of a half, at the end of the game. I mean, this usually hits every year. It hit last year with ease. And in such an important game, you think there's going to be an attempt, maybe 2 attempts at a really long field goal. You just got to hope it goes through the uprights. But you could usually expect one over 50 or about 50. So we're going to go longest field goal made, over 47.5 yards at minus 105. Bet to win 2 units. Leads me to my last prop, that there will be a 2-point conversion attempt. Doesn't have to succeed. As long as there is an attempt, you win. And this is also a fun one to take too, because like I said, there's no risk in it being converted. There's always different reasons in a game to go for 2. And I feel like in today's day and age, teams go for 2 a lot more than they used to. Whether it's because of a penalty and you move the ball up to the 1-yard line on the extra point, and then you decide to go for 2, or maybe you need to make up points later in the game to try and tie it. I mean, that happens all the time. It's the Super Bowl. You're supposed to have a little bit of fun with it. So I think this hits in the Super Bowl more often than people think. And I think there's good value on it. It's plus 115 just for an attempt. Doesn't have to be converted. Plus odds. I like this one a lot. 2 units on that there will be an attempt at what? Plus 115. You're muted.
Whoops, sorry about that. I love that. Very good. I have another prop. What do you think about over 2.5 people to attempt to pass?
I saw that. I love that over. There's going to be
Me
trickery.
too.
There's going to be
3 people
Worthy's
attempt to
heaving
pass.
that ball down the field.
Whether
I'm
it's the
surprised you said that,
the
because that's
Kansas
like a deep one.
the Kansas City special, or
It's
the
gonna happen.
Philly special. I mean,
It will happen.
the Philly's going to run the Philly special at least once, or Worthy's going to attempt to pass, or Kelsey might even attempt to pass. It's been done. I like 2.5 or more to attempt to. I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to play that.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
a good one because I know the Banana Lands feeling it would be if someone other than Mahomes or Hurts attempts a pass. That would be sick.
VP, I absolutely love that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's very funny.
Yeah,
Very,
I'm
very
playing
funny.
it. I'm playing it. We'll set our bets.
I-
Save some bets to set with me.
Here,
Don't lock them all in the morning before I get there.
VP, I have a take. This is juicy, right? Because in reality, you think it's not going to happen either. But this wasn't one of my breaking bets picks. I think Shipley's going to get a touchdown for the Eagles. People are thinking there's no way. It's the Super Bowl. He got his first touchdown against the Commanders in a blowout when they pulled the starters. Why would Shipley get a touchdown when they're going to be running with Barkley down your throat? I have a theory that they're going to get down there in the red zone. And the Chiefs, being the masterminds they are, and the Eagles know this, they're going to be spotting Barkley hard. And everybody thinks they're going to give it to Barkley. But Shipley's going to get a touchdown as the backup running back in Super Bowl 59. Plus 1,400.
I like it. Maybe I'll play it.
I think there's a trick play coming with Shipley.
Save some of your props for me. I want to lock them in together.
All right.
The 2.5 passer one especially. We'll lock that one in
that's a good
together. Yeah. All right, Frank. Great show. Great show.
Great show.
Love talking about hockey. Love talking about the Super Bowl. We will be watching the Super Bowl together, the way it should be. Very
food.
excited. Good food. Oh, good food.
You can
Can't
always
wait.
expect good food at a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Thank you to everyone who watched today's program, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, X, wherever it is you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow the Barroom Network on YouTube and everywhere else that you could follow stuff. And make sure you're hitting up Frank at the King Bean. He started streaming on Twitch again.
Yep.
So you're going to want to check out Bean. I logged in the other night. I didn't say anything because it was too late. I was kind of like on my phone. But next time you're in and it's like, I probably won't be in the middle of a movie next time. I'll be in and I'll get the chat going. But I'm firmly back logged in on my phone and computer ready for this. So make sure you're following Frank at the King Bean on Twitter for all of his fun that he's going to be doing over the next couple weeks. And then you could hit me up on Twitter at Vinny Parisi. I got hella content coming from the hockey news covering the Chicago Blackhawks on the beat. I'll be at the United Center tonight as they take on the Nashville Predators. Hope to see you there. Frank, you got anything else you got to get off your chest before we move into the weekend?
Just everybody have a good Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And don't drive drunk. Be smart. Super Bowl, very interesting year or a very interesting day because everyone in the world is watching a sport. Like I watch sports every day, and I always find the Super Bowl to be weird because most Americans watch a sport, something I do every day. Most people do it that day. So I always find it to be very interesting. And I hope everybody enjoys. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you win all your bets. And for everyone at the Barroom Network, I say thank you for listening.